3, 2, 1, and go. Right,
Three,
Dave.
2, 1. Back in the room.
Back in the room. Right, let's check if we're live. Let's have a little check. If we are coming through, I will also bring up the chat. Let's have a look there. Right, it's weird being on a Tuesday, Dave. But
Sorry,
yeah,
I've kind of stalled on. Just keep talking keep talking until I get the questions up ready.
I think I'm pretty much stalled. There we go.
We're live.
Happy days. We'll just wait for our first ever trackers to arrive.
There we go.
Obviously, if you have landed, yes, it's nice to see Evertrack on here, obviously, which is great. But yeah, if you have joined us, do comment, do say hello. Yeah, do what Dave just said. Hey Simon, how you doing? I hope all is well.
Noxy boys, yeah.
Simon is on. Today is. I know we've done similar before, Dave, where we talked about fears. We talked about different things.
It's been 200 episodes. We've done everything before. and the only thing we can't talk about is what will happen in the future, But right now we've covered everything.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and I'm afraid that that's going to affect the episode. But can you dispel that fear?
I'm going to try and dispel that fear.
Yeah,
with knowledge.
Awesome, mate. Awesome.
Because knowledge dispels fear, as you always say. Hey Andrew, how you doing? Hey Richard, hey Rebecca, John, Bry. Great to see some of the regulars on it. Awesome. As Dave said, obviously there isn't a subject we've touched on before, but we always like to, especially for the kind of Tuesday tunies.
Tuesday.
That's a cartoon. Tuesday tuning.
That's for the kids.
The Tuesday tuning newbies was what I wanted to say, or relatively newbies. Like if maybe you've done 20 episodes, 30. Maybe you haven't done the full 201, 202 now. So we wanted to kind of dive into certain things because naturally before any challenge, there's going to be things in the back of your mind of, what about this? What about altitude, for instance? What about heights? Things like that. And, traveling to a country you've not been before, there's so many things that go through your mind. And I think naturally, as human beings, we try and kind of not face those fears head on. We kind of just bury them a bit and we kind of like, okay, I'll deal with them until they actually happen. And then it can be really horrible. So I always think it's good to just talk about these things.
100%.
Ways you can kind of get around it. Obviously, there are certain things if you are new to a particular thing like altitude or the mountains or trekking, there are things that you want to learn or have some knowledge that will then help with those fears and help you get on with it.
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree. And I think when you are thinking about taking on like a challenge, like a high altitude thing, immediately, for most people, there are some crazies out there that just go into it. Ignorance is bliss, and I respect that.
Massively.
But for most people, there's also this list of hurdles they need to overcome in order to do it. Like I remember, if you have a group, say you have a group of 5 mates and talk about let's do Killy, there'll be a couple of people that'll be like, what about the fitness, man? I need to get fitter.
That is true.
Another person will say like, how much does it cost though? And then another guy will be like, nah, mate, I heard you got to cross loads of bridges to get to EBC. There's no way I'll be able to do that. So often, because it's like what makes the news? Bad news, right? If you watch the 10 o'clock news, it's never a list of all the things that went well in the world, and when that's human nature. We tend to worry about what could go wrong because you don't need to worry about what could go right because that's great. That's an easy path.
That is true.
But we want to make sure that the difficult path is often the most rewarding. So how can we get people to take it?
Exactly, and that's you hit the nail on the head there around the first obstacle. Which is all that noise that happens that tells you, and sometimes that's just inner head noise that says don't do it. It's one of those that that's the one you kind of overcome. And you talked about the news there. Everything on there is kind of it's almost like programming sometimes. Especially let's choose Everest as an example. That there isn't always great news about Everest. Sometimes there is, and it's really inspiring. Like this week, I think it was Adriana Brownlee, UK. I think she was 24 and she's summited all 14 8,000ers, which is awesome. That's really awesome news.
Amazing news.
British girl to do that at 24, and but it's not always those that stick out on the news.
No, right? Everest is a funny one as well because it's become commercialized now. So commercial climbing on Everest is now the way that the vast majority of the world summit Everest. But So with that, there often comes a lot of attention because there are increased numbers taking on that challenge, and then there's questions about should they be doing it.
Yeah.
Just because you could doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yeah.
But you can get bogged down in that, and you can be convinced if that's all you look at, the world is a negative place and you shouldn't go and do these things. Yeah, mate. Well, I got the same hoodie. I had to whip that one off.
We both got skulls on today. This is we're not branded up.
I've got the
Sea Shepherd.
The Sea Shepherd.
You've got skulls there. I've got skulls here. Yeah. See, we're trying to be themed with a little bit of Halloween.
And skulls, it is sort of ocean related.
Ocean. Oh yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah.
Pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates. The fearful pirates. But we're not going to be afraid of pirates today.
No, exactly. But yeah, no.
Sorry, Dave.
No, but that is one of the things.
Hey, Jim.
For me, I always think, limit the amount of negative sort of information that you receive. And if you start doing your own research, there's a lot of that on the internet. Do your own research of all this stuff. But actually, when you're talking about trips, it's fine. You can go on YouTube, you can Google stuff and you can read these amazing experiences that people have. And we don't go to Everest, so it always irks me a little bit when we don't climb the mountain. We're not responsible for what happens on there, and we do have strong opinions of it.
Yeah.
But we go to Everest Base Camp and the surrounding peaks.
Which is, and it's not... I know in the beginning, certainly one of my things was like, what's this weird going to the base camp of Everest? But actually having been there, I know a lot of you on here have, it's an amazing, epic challenge, and the journey is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I know what you mean. A lot of the mountain stuff gets the rap, and it can seep down into the trekking world.
Yeah.
Which does, I suppose, pee you off sometimes, because we know that there's certain parts of the Everest trip, they're actually really, really clean, as an example. In terms of bringing down the rubbish and stuff like that. But obviously the mountain does have its challenges. But these kind of things do filter down and then can kind of hinder, when we talk about fears and stopping people. Just recently we won the Everest Base Camp competition. I saw a lot of comments and it's really interesting. I mean, I don't know what people are like just sitting there typing these messages, but I was like, wow, some of the comments, I was like, Jesus, really? And, but we don't get involved too much because there's a lot of negative vibes out there, and that's not our bag. We're in the positive space. But yeah, you still can't help but like almost want to react because they're saying, no, you shouldn't go there, go to here instead. And I'm like, have you really been there, mate?
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's mad.
There's a lot of people that kind of get that's exactly the type of people that get bogged down in the negative press of it all, and will read one news article and accept it as fact. Where if one of your fears is that if you're going to Everest, it's going to be that you're going to be queuing the whole time to get to base camp, that there's going to be trash everywhere, and that it's going to be an area that's been completely decimated by foreign travel. I can assure you, as someone that's been to Nepal, I don't know how many, 8-9 times, and I've done Everest Base Camp 4 times. You've done it 5. And not always together, so we have got a broad range of time spent in that area. It's not like that at all.
Yeah. People
say, will I be queuing? Sometimes, yeah, sure. Go anywhere where there's people, you're going to be queuing. Yeah. Is it all the time, and is it going to stress you out? No. Himalayas is a big place. True. It's only when you come to cross bridges or stuff like that there tends to be a little bottleneck. But anywhere where you go where there's people, there's going to be...
Yeah, it's going to be an element of it, isn't it? And I know some comments as well. Yeah, big happy birthday to Jerome. I don't know if he's on here. The rock carrier himself. He's probably out there collecting rocks. Yeah. So hopefully he has a good day. And I'd like to see his birthday cake in the shape of a rock.
No, happy birthday, Jerome. 103 today, I think.
103.
Jerome is actually, he's still out there in the hills.
Fighting strong.
Exactly.
He's doing well.
And the other thing was about the trash as well. Like, it's again, anywhere where you go where there are people, you're going to see evidence that people have been there. So you will see a wrapper here or a bottle there. But it's not like the pictures you see on the mountain, which are just mounds of human waste and trash and tents. It's really well looked after. The trekking routes are really well looked after. And that's partly why we think it's important to go there. The locals want us to visit. They love the fact that they can rely on the tourism, to provide a living in a country that they love, and they want to show us the best of it. So it is an amazing place.
Exactly. And I know we've kind of, it's mad. We're obviously very positive people. We like to talk about it in a positive way, but naturally you want to kind of dish out the dirt early on so we can bring it back. But talking about, Dave Rimington, in the shape of what? I'm like, let's keep it clean, Dave. But No, but that's where we want to start off today, because there are some things that can be blockers, and some of it is not always in your control. It's things that you're seeing and you're consuming, really, your content. You're reading the news. Maybe you listen to podcasts. Certainly, hopefully you're listening to this or watching this. There's a little bit of positivity, and that's great. But there are things that can almost set up the fear.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can kind of break that down. And Dave, just talking about some specific ones. I know before, obviously, everyone's journey starts somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone's like wakes up and they've been to outer space camp 5 times or whatever.
No.
It takes time. And
I did this morning, though.
what did you wake up and go?
Yeah, I woke up and thought, I've been there 4 times.
Yeah, but the fears you had
Yeah.
before you went there once.
Yeah.
Let's try and I'm going to try and bring my mind back to that moment and think what was going through my mind. And I'll open this up as well to people on the live. What was going through your mind before you first went to places like Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu? If you hadn't been to altitude before, you hadn't been with other people on a group trip before, maybe just done family holidays or gone on your own. Interesting to hear what happened, what went through your mind. I mean, I know a big one for me was the kind of medical stuff. Because anyone that's got any underlying health issues, you kind of worry about that a bit.
Yeah.
I know I did. I was like, am I going to be all right because I've got asthma? Am I going to be okay at altitude? No, that was one of mine.
No, yeah, mine, to be honest, was is bog standard, really. I was worried about the altitude.
Okay, classic.
Because for me, at least going out there, and I thought, well, my medical stuff, I can make a choice whether I'm going to go or not. And if I'm going to go, I'm going to go sort of, I don't worry about that, weirdly.
Just do it.
I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
It's all the outside stuff that I didn't have any control over, because I'd never even been on a ski holiday before. The highest I'd ever been before I went to base camp was probably one of the bends in Scotland as a kid or something like that. It was. I had never been to altitude before, so no idea whether I was going to acclimatize, how it was going to affect me, and I wanted to get to base camp and walk in the Himalayas so badly that altitude you can, and I did build it up into my mind where I was like, that's going to be the reason. Oh my God. And I remember my guide saying, like, a significant proportion of people that go there have the same fear and may misassociate things like anxiety and worry as altitude. And he said,
interesting.
And he did tell me, he said, the best, one of the things we do, so we talk about walking slowly, gaining altitude gradually, drinking plenty of water. And he also said one of the other things is genuinely don't worry too much.
That's true.
And he said, don't worry too much, because you expend so much energy. If any of you have ever been in an anxious state for any length of time, you know how much energy that can actually take.
Yeah.
And then a panic attack can seem a lot like you can't breathe. Or not even if it gets as far as that, you start worrying, like every little headache you got, oh my God, that's my brain, or this, that, the other. And it was only after I completed the trek once, and I was like, do you know what? It's not that scary.
Yeah.
It's just something you need to go through.
You know what's scary? That tree.
What tree?
That tree, which is now on the way.
Oh, yeah, I see, I see.
Sorry, I couldn't resist then.
I got it.
There we go. Hopefully.
Did we forget the branding?
We forgot the branding. Classic. Clearly not on it today. It's because we're so used to doing a Friday tune-in now.
Yeah.
After last week. That's what it is. We're a bit rusty, so
that's
apologies.
Today it felt like I was shocked we had to do it today. It felt like they were too close.
I know, right? I know. Exactly. You've said something there around the altitude, and I think it's right. Before you experience it, a lot of people do have some fear around it, and it's only right. We've all felt it. You've certainly felt the altitude. If you've run up the stairs at 4,000 meters and you haven't done it before, it's bloody hard work.
Yeah, no.
And you start seeing stars and going, okay, right, next time I'm going to take that stairs very slowly. But yeah, it was certainly, I think it was one of mine as well.
Yeah.
Around the altitude, I think certainly because I hadn't been there before. And again, I had been skiing, but I had been to about 3,000 meters, but literally for about a minute.
Yeah, and then
before I got off the lift and then down. And then it was like, yeah, but you don't really experience altitude at that point.
No.
I think when you're there for like 50 minutes, half hour, and your body starts to think, oh my God, there's not as much oxygen around here. It starts to do some weird processes, isn't it?
It was funny, in May, when I had to visit Nepal, I visited Namche. So I wasn't on a trekking trip, but I visited Namche.
Yeah.
Boarded the chopper club.
Classic.
And you land above Namche, walk down
Yeah.
to the lodge. It's fine. Sat there, cup of
Perfect.
tea, feeling great. And it wasn't until like about 2 hours later when I had to walk back up that I started,
You felt it then,
that I
yeah,
started to become aware of
Brilliant.
like that's what you get a lot, you know. And I was like, oh my god, yeah. So really did feel it. But I do honestly think that it's actually a small amount of people
Yeah.
that land at altitude and are physiologically just unable to deal with it. The vast majority of people, even if they do experience some symptoms, headaches, are able to complete the trek.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, I mean, is it something to worry about? Because the likelihood of you becoming so unwell due to altitude on any high altitude trek that you have to turn back,
Yeah.
if you go on the right itinerary and you follow the rules,
It is rare. I mean,
it's
it can
rare.
happen, but
It does
yeah.
happen, but
Yeah.
that's when you think of the amount of people every day that are trekking up to Everest Base Camp or going up to
That is
Kilimanjaro.
very true. Yeah.
The vast
yeah.
amount of them
Yeah.
get up there, get the success they want, and then come back, and they're
Yeah.
totally fine. Like no lasting effects. A small percentage of people do suffer with it, so
Yeah.
you should proportion your worry in the same amount. So, you know,
But it doesn't always work that way, does it? Especially if you
No.
get, and it's, I think something I found in the early days, and something like, being on trips with Evertrekkers and seeing what was working, what wasn't. A lot of it was around, I think you're right, you mentioned around like anxiety, around just because people were so focused on it. The people who were focused on it so much were actually the ones that became ill.
yeah. Well, you
and,
do.
and that's true, isn't it? If all you're thinking about is getting ill, there's more of a chance of you getting ill, I think.
Well, also,
I'm no doctor, of course, but I mean, just an experience.
It's exactly what the guide told me on my first trip up there. When you go to altitude, I can promise you a couple of things. You're going to get a headache. You're probably going to feel a bit nauseous at some point. You may even feel a little bit dizzy at some point. You may not sleep very well. You may lose your appetite. And there are a small percentage of people that have all of those things. And the trip might become unbearable and they might go back. But the vast majority don't. And even if you do, they're manageable. So this is what I went there first time.
Yeah.
I had all those worries, and I probably took it too far. You know, I have a tendency to have an anxious disposition. So every day I woke up, I'd have this private word with myself, like, "Come on, Dave, don't worry, let's crack on." And every day I got higher and higher and higher, and I was experiencing the altitude, even though I wasn't suffering. I was still nervous, and the reason I was nervous is because I didn't want to have to turn back. But once I've been there, and now I tell people, I want to try and. I've had that worry, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
All you got to do is walk slow, eat a lot, sleep as much as you can, drink a ton, and 95% certain you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So altitude is manageable.
Exactly. And thanks for your comments as well. I think it was, who was it? I think it was Sam, actually. Hillary Bridge nearly pooed me pants. That was from Sam. Thanks for the info, Sam. But yeah, mate. Especially if and obviously height. Luckily, I was fine.
You were scared.
Luckily, no.
I've been waiting.
Check my heart rate.
I've been waiting to make you jump on this live ever since we've done about fears. Didn't work.
Didn't work.
No. Okay, fine. Carry on. Yeah,
it's all good. It's because I was so engrossed in Hillary Bridge.
Yeah, but I've been waiting for you to do a dialogue to camera. And
is that what it was?
Yeah, it's under my.
Almost.
I wanted you because sometimes you go like that.
Well, yeah.
I tell them about the arrows.
Yeah, why not? So we were at classic, really high altitude event, which was mini golf.
Yeah.
And was it a couple of weeks ago? A couple of our friends were visiting from Sidmouth, so classic. We thought, right, we'll do some mini golf. But one of them is quite immersive because it's in like a jungle setting, like Amazon kind of setting. And so there's lots of sounds when you put the balls in. And anyway, so me being me, I was deep in. Yeah, you were, you were teeing off. And I was just walking past. The next thing I heard was a... But it sounded like someone had fired an arrow. And I don't know why. I reacted as though someone actually fired an arrow.
Yeah.
And dived out of the
was
way.
like, oh no, like that.
But I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been the one with the arrow, Mike.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't have been. I
would have lived.
Fortunately,
it was in Cardiff.
It was in Cardiff, and there are a few people firing arrows at you on the Everest Base Camp trek. But no, the Hillary Bridge. I love the Hillary Bridge. Doesn't scare me at all. Are you afraid of heights?
No. I've never. I mean, I've been near really big drops and kind of thought, ooh, that is quite high, but not been so much that I can not get close to it. But I mean, we've had loads of Evertrekkers, like obviously Sam, you've smashed it, you've taken it on, and as Debbie said there, on the way back, you danced across it, and fair dues, and see that is great. Like you took on that challenge, you didn't let it stop you. So I literally take my hat off to you because it's not easy. Some of our good friends, like my mate Max, he came to Everest Base Camp with us April 2019, and that was one of his big concerns with heights. He's the sort of guy that can get next to an edge and he's like holding on for dear life. But actually, he's got better over the years.
He's getting better, actually.
When we were down in Cornwall.
Yeah, we had some exposure.
For a couple of days, and he was on the coastal path then. He was fine next to the edge.
I mean, he's totally fine. I think on the Hillary Bridge mine, the time when I went to get across it, I was 2/3 of the way across, and yaks started coming down.
That's always.
So I had to turn around, walk back, let the yaks go, turn around, go back again. Because I would have more than happy moved to the side, but then my guide said no, because if a yak hooks you and flings you in the air, you can go 20 feet in the air,
and then 100 meters down.
100 meters down, yeah. So you'll be a kite. But
that's not what we want. But hey, Diane, how you doing? Nice to see you on the live.
Hey,
Sam Wright, my Sherpa was fab, and that's great. Is that because I think I can't remember who it was. It might have been Jerome actually. And again, I'm not sure he's on today, but he mentioned last conversations that because he had an issue with walking across the bridge, and he had some really good help.
Yeah.
It was definitely a challenge, but yeah, you're taking these challenges on. Like, massive respect to all of you that have been to Everest Base Camp already, or Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu, wherever you go. And obviously, once you take them on, I know one thing for me, what it did was once you realize what is, there's so much out there that you can achieve. Don't let the kind of those limiting beliefs of, I can only do this, I can only do that. You can do whatever you want to do. You can, with the right training, with the right mindset, with the right fitness, and obviously the right company. You can do anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. And the other thing is as well, like, what Sam says there about the guides and that, they are great. So, there's never going to be a situation where one of our guides can confront something that they've never confronted before. So fear of heights, that type of thing, it is a case of, isn't it? They'll like hand on the shoulder, they'll walk you
coach
across,
you through it, yeah.
They'll make sure it's safe and everything, and all you have to do is put one foot in front of the other. You can even do it with your eyes closed if you want, and they'll sort of walk you. So it's really manageable, and the team are amazing for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because the heights one is a biggie, and obviously on Everest Base Camp there are several bridges. I think Diane there has asked about Annapurna Base Camp. There's one on the circuit. Quite a long one on the circuit. You might have seen, Diane. Not sure about the base camp one. I will double check, but on the circuit there's definitely a couple because you're lower down, especially along the rivers there. But once you get higher, it's similar to Everest Base Camp. You're in the glaciated valley, but definitely on the circuit. I'll check on Annapurna Base Camp.
Yeah.
Heights is a biggie. I think a big one as well. We get a lot of kind of questions, especially people who are inquiring. And a lot of questions that people ask is, what happens if I'm not fit enough? They're kind of worried, which is natural. Again, you don't want to be holding people up. You want to do yourself justice. That's a big one, isn't it? I know we get that.
Yeah, probably like one of the top 3 questions we get before anyone ever wants to book on is, I want to do it, but I'm worried about my fitness level.
Yeah.
Part of that is from the unknown. It's up there as a challenge in the mountains, and you don't want to get. I think it's even tougher than, say, taking on like a marathon, because if you realistically, if you go to run a marathon and you get halfway and you realize that it's a no-go, you just step to the side, get a taxi. It's fine.
That is true.
When you go to these places, you don't want to be, and also when you're part of a group, you don't want to be the one that lets the group down. Which is never the case. No group, no guide, no one ever thinks, oh my God, like that person's ruining the trip. Each of us are there, doing our own thing and trekking at our own pace.
Yeah.
And fitness is a big one, because I think some people as well, they assume you have to be super, super fit, like a triathlete or something, with incredible cardio strength and endurance. And whilst, that'd be great. The vast majority of people aren't like that. They're just normal people with a pretty good base level of fitness. So if you can get out there and do walks, I like most people, I say, like, if they said, I went for a hike on the weekend, I say, oh, what you do? And they're like, oh yeah, I was out for a good 10 hours. No, it's pretty good. Yeah, quite good, but I was all right. I'm like, you're probably fine.
That's it. You're fitter than more. I mean, people you got to worry about is people like Brooke. I'm not sure she's fit enough.
Well, the thing is, I think she's fit enough, but she's just lazy. She just doesn't do anything. She just, like I signed Brooke up for triathletes and these
Hey, Brooke, I hope all is well.
Yeah.
Good to see you on the live. Obviously, we're joking.
Yeah.
Brooke is one of our fittest and definitely ever trackers. Absolutely beasts it when you're running and your events. I hope life is treating you well, Brooke. Feels like a long time ago since we were on Kili back in 2020. God, It was an epic journey.
My favourite is when we flew to Tanzania.
Yeah.
And I think for one of the legs, Brooke was sat next to Tam.
Oh, geez.
Our friend Tam. Do you remember that flight, Brooke? I think Tam had a couple of gins, and I think he decided that the entertainment wasn't good enough, so he was going to annoy Brooke for 8 hours.
He loves the banter, I know.
Yeah,
Brooke, you should have moved seats. Told you. Need my next mountain fix. Yeah, I know, mate. Definitely. Let us know where you want to go. It's agreed. I mean, winter's coming as well, so there's plenty of places to go.
I feel like Brooke needs to go back to Nepal, do Mera.
She needs to do something.
Mera Peak or something like that. I feel
she could do Mera or Island.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, going back to fitness, because I know we were talking about fitness, and it is a biggie. And actually, maybe it's what the fitness does, like you said, about being left behind, about what happens if I'm 2 hours longer. And I think once you're talking with people and you're like, look, if you are a bit further back, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like that. It's, don't think of it as that you have to win and you have to be first into the lodge or first into your camp. It doesn't matter,
No.
Actually, and the slower you go, actually, and you don't want to be too slow, obviously. You don't want to, kind of take a day extra to get to where you want to get to. But if you're an hour behind, because generally, especially in Nepal, where we kind of split the groups sometimes, depending on the kind of fitness levels, it's okay to come in an hour later, and actually you've gone an hour slower and you're acclimatized better.
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps.
No, yeah, exactly. And, our groups are designed so that they do accommodate a range of people and their fitness levels and their speed and things. So, it's never just one guy leading the pack and you've got to keep up. There's a lot of I say the group moves up the hill like a caterpillar. There are people at the front that sort of stretch it out a bit, people at the back that stretch it out a bit. But ultimately, we all tend to try and leave at the same time and arrive at the same time. And yes, certainly some people arrive, on EBC you find it more than perhaps Kili or Mountain Peaks, where you might get two people that arrive an hour ahead of you, but you're back with the other guide making your own way.
Yeah.
And to me, it just doesn't matter. I'd rather be sort of in the middle of the range if I was that, because being first and being too quick for me means potentially you haven't acclimatized as well because you've rushed.
Yeah.
It means that you're going to be a bit worse off the next day or the day after that. It does catch up with you. If you're in the middle of the group, I think that's the perfect sweet spot, because you arrive, you've trekked with your mates, you've had enough time to acclimatize and you have just enough rest. If you're at the back, that's fine also.
Taking the views, take photos, as Diane's saying there. It's a great way to do it. I mean, that's my excuse anyway. I'll be like taking loads of pictures, but actually I'm just trying to catch my breath.
Yeah.
But, hey, I got loads of good pictures then. Happy days.
I done base camp with my dad twice and he's hangs around at the back, doesn't care.
Exactly.
It's just,
but, he got there 1.8 times.
Yeah, exactly. And 1.8. And he's not interested in keeping up, and neither should anyone else be. If you're out there, most people that I know sign up for Everest Base Camp to go out there for them, not to keep up with someone they haven't met yet.
And it's but Brooke makes a good point there, actually, because sometimes I think the fittest people who are at events and stuff, it sometimes is about the time. That is a challenge, isn't it? I think if you can, you're used to walking at a certain pace or running at a certain pace, and then you've got to hold back. That can be quite a challenge in itself, I think. I think you're right, Brooke. We do have a lot of, and we have had a lot of triathletes and things who have gone on the treks, and actually then it's, and tend to be at the front, but then do suffer afterwards. That can happen. Not saying yourself, obviously, but others, it can definitely happen. It's a part of the challenge, I think.
Yeah, no.
Definitely.
And you need to start at a pace that you are comfortable to maintain all day.
Yeah.
It's no good to rush each section, because that's the worst, I find, is the people that want to go quickly.
Yeah.
And they push themselves from, say, lunch for the first hour, and they're really quick and they're stopping and waiting and then rushing off again and stopping and waiting. And then usually that's the type of person I think, Brooke's referring to. They end up blowing themselves to bits.
Yeah, that's true.
But you might not notice it on day 1. You might not notice it on day 2.
Yeah.
But by about day 7, that person will be struggling, because that rushing means that they're exerting themselves too much. They haven't had time to adjust to altitude. They haven't had a proper time to recover.
Yeah.
And all us tortoises are now the hares,
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you can tell Diane's after some free merch today, isn't she? Was it spin the wheel in the background? I know we did a few weeks back. Can't do it every week, but yeah, we did. When was it, Dave? It was the 8-year.
It was the 200 episodes.
Was it the the
200 200th episode?
I remember that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, so we spun the wheel. Sadly, I think if we went rogue and gave away sort of things on every Tuesday tune-in, we'll get shouted at.
Definitely. Well, look, one more before we kind of take questions. I know people who have injuries. Injuries obviously happen. We've all had them. Dave, I think you had an injury once, didn't you, on your knee?
Yeah, I don't want about it.
We don't talk about it a lot in the office now, but once. But on a serious note, it can be a worry and concern though about going on these adventures. First time we went to Morocco, for example.
Yeah.
Just after your knee op.
Yeah.
We planned. It was in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, it was at the forefront of the mind, to be honest with you.
Really?
It makes you, to be honest, it makes you kind of second guess yourself a little bit. So you're not walking. I mean, there's the injury, and obviously there's the time to recover. Then if you need an operation, there's more time to recover. So it is very taxing and quite depressing to get yourself to a point where you can walk. But I think the one thing I would say is, like, don't shortcut that process, because when you do take on a challenge, you want to be the term I use is like you want your fitness back and you want your strength back and you want all of that stuff. But for me, the biggest challenge was natural, like walking naturally and not compensating or over worrying about my knee. So there's a middle ground. You don't want to completely disregard the fact that you may have a weakened limb.
Yeah.
But you want to get back so you get that flow, so you're able to trek at a nice pace. You're not second guessing your footing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I went to Toopkal, it was probably a little bit too soon. So I found every step I was overanalyzing.
And you're thinking about it. It was on your mind a lot more.
Yeah. My left knee was definitely not as strong as my right. So every time I put my foot down, my left knee I would put down gently and then all my weight on my right.
Yeah.
And it does start to wear you out a little bit. Since then, I've put a lot of effort into regaining the strength equally in both legs. And the difference it makes is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you are carrying an injury and you do want to go trekking, the first thing I would say is don't rush. I rushed because you want it to be over.
Yeah, you want to get on with life, don't you? It's just hard, isn't it?
Exactly. You want to put the injury in.
We got some wet dogs who've just come in from
walk. They've just come in, and you can see
it's hammering down here in Wales. Surprising, surprise.
No,
it's we're half aquatic these days, aren't we?
Yeah, practically born with gills in Wales, but that's not all due to the rain.
True.
Yeah, no, it is an issue where you want the injury to be in the rear view and you want to move on and not think about it. But if you think like that too much, you'll tend to kind of rush things and book things in because you want to prove to yourself that you are back and you want to hope that you're back. Personally, I found that taking the time to recover properly and not hoping that you're back, but knowing that you're back. So when you are trekking or climbing, you're doing it more naturally. And as a result, then you're not going to wear yourself out. You're not going to have slips, trips and falls.
Exactly.
And I think that was my issue with Toopkal. Lesson 1, don't rush back.
Brian just typed that. Just imagining Dave walking around in circles on Toopkal.
That's why I never got to the top.
Honestly, it was easy to take pictures of him because he wasn't going very far.
Yeah.
So it was like snap, puke, snap, video, record.
I circumnavigated the entire Atlas Mountains twice, but I never got to the summit. Annoying.
No, I know we're laughing and joking. It's but it sometimes talking about injuries, it can be a biggie for some people. It can be a blockage. So for us, I think, and it's interesting. Obviously, you've been through a bunch of injuries. Touch wood, I've been relatively lucky with my bodily parts up to now. But it's a matter of time, isn't it? We all tweak something. I mean, saying that I have rolled ankles and stuff, but nothing serious. And sometimes, that must hold you back a bit, especially if you are like Brooke was talking about there. Someone who's really into their fitness, someone that's driven and wants to do these things. It's hard to kind of calm that ego down.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, because you're just part of you just thinks, screw it, I'm just going to go and I'll take painkillers, I'll get through it.
Oh yeah, but it's It's a not.
It's
Honestly,
a challenge.
I got nothing positive to say about the fact when I tore my ACL. Nothing. It was not like I feel like any of the lessons I learned from that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm able to have them, so I can pass them on to people that maybe watch the tune in.
Yeah.
And maybe someone else that hurts themselves will understand the process and not feel like they're alone in the recovery.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I would, if I could press a button and have it never happen to me, I would trade in all those lessons because I hated it.
All those
like
lessons.
the problem. Well, yeah, what people don't. And I guarantee you, there's probably loads of people that have been injured that are probably going to nod, and is that when you do hurt yourself, time seems to move a lot slower for you than everybody else. Like someone else, even your best friend could hurt their knee, and then like 6 months, oh yeah, he hurt his knee 6 months ago. Yeah, he's doing all right. But for you, that 6 months is a grind.
Yeah.
Because every day you have
months.
exercises that you need to do, and it's not like gym exercises where you're like lifting and you go, that feels great.
Yeah.
It's really painful stuff like I've got to straighten my leg. so you'll try.
It's part of the journey.
And so the recovery is a nightmare, but I will say it's that mindset that made me just want to get it done with as quickly as I possibly could. Speed.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Toopcal, although my knee felt okay, looking back it wasn't, and I wasn't my normal self on that trip. 6 months later, all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And you should have waited, really.
Should have waited.
But you didn't know. Especially, a bunch of friends going. I know we went out there, filmed some stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, isn't it? Because FOMO can drag you out there when maybe you're not ready.
Oh yeah, I think that's my biggest thing. Twice in my life, I probably should have not gone on the trip.
Yeah.
The shingles.
Yeah, that was fun.
But
you smashed through it though, fair dues.
Yeah, but it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like shingles, like having actual shingles on your body and then going on a trek is sorry, I got distracted there because I just saw a spider catch a fly.
He's that looks brutal.
That's death right there. Nature can be brutal. But that was strange. As I was talking, I looked out the window and I just saw it happen. It was so
distracted, Dave.
But yeah, no, that is again, like that's another thing where. But then, what would my advice be? Oh, well, what happens if you do get sick right before the trek? I think, well, to be honest, if you're at a stage where you're overly committed, there's less than a month to go, there's two things I would rather do. So I would either do it or I would call my insurance company.
Or I would wait until next month and go with Brian.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's like, I know Chris on there. EBC is on my bucket list. Just got to fund it now. Yeah, I think Carl's explained it well. Obviously, you can just later you can book onto a trip and pay it over, say 18 months. If that's what helps.
Totally.
Hopefully, that can help Chris. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we'd love to have you on Everest Base Camp if you'd love to book on. Yeah, be awesome. With questions, I know we had a couple early because I think. We're getting to question time, Dave.
Yeah, I think there's a couple on there.
I think Carl asked something around sleeping, actually. I thought it was a good question. Good question, Carl. I'm actually going to bring it in today. Look at this. See, on it on my tech today.
Look at that, mate. Yeah,
better than before. Is there any tough... I'm thinking it's Dave, zooming in.
I was looking at that picture. Is that like...
He's on a mountain somewhere.
He's on a mountain somewhere.
Looks beautiful, Carl.
Yeah.
Any tougher sleeping at high altitude on a trek? And if so, any tips? Yeah, some people do find it more challenging, I'd say, especially when you get above, say, 4,000 meters. I think naturally, as your body's adjusting, it's not, and it's in a strange place. You're in a bed that you hadn't slept in before, unless you're in, say, Namche or Dingboche on the Everest Base Camp trip, for example, and you're staying there a couple of nights. But so you won't sleep as well as you do at home. That's just get that sorted in your mind. Okay, I'm on the trek. I'm not going to sleep well. I'm going to try and get as much sleep as I can. In terms of some things that help you sleep, I think when you've been walking all day and you're knackered, it helps. Definitely. I know it certainly helps me sleep. Dave, I know I'm probably more of a deep sleeper than you. Because you tend to wake up with noises. So earbuds.
Yeah, earplugs make a big difference. Sometimes as well, you might not be experiencing the effects of altitude sort of in terms of headache, sickness, but not being able to sleep is definitely a symptom. So sometimes Diamox can help that. Other people I know take like a sleeping tablet or something like that. But personally, I wouldn't do that because I like the idea that if I have to wake up in the middle of the night to assist with an emergency, or if I'm in an emergency, I want to have my mind ready to go.
So you're in ready mode, aren't you?
But the downside is that I'm always like that.
Yeah.
So I don't sleep that great. But for me, I don't think. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that much worse at altitude than it is down here. You know, it's not that bad.
Sorry, I know I jumped to Jerome there because Jerome is on. Happy birthday, Jerome! Welcome. It's nice to see you join the Tuesday tune in on your birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
But I hope you got some nice rocks for your birthday. I'm sure the missus would have made a nice little bag next to your bed when you wake up this morning. So enjoy those rocks, definitely. But yeah, apologies. I know we were talking about. I was going to say, literally talking about rocks, talking about sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right. Like, it can be quite a challenge. Maybe, there's some things. Keep hydrated. Keep looking after yourself. Some people do take, aspirin or painkillers, things that will help. Obviously some people then go into Diamox, and some people who are struggling to sleep actually do go on Diamox, and then it helps.
Yeah.
The only thing it doesn't help is it makes you wee more, so you will wake up more during the night to go to toilet. Something to think about.
Yeah, so that's actually an altitude rule. Is you do have to drink a lot, sort of 4 liters a day minimum. You want to have you want to get all those in at least an hour and a half, 2 hours before you go to bed, and go to the toilet before you go, even if you don't feel like the need. Go force it, because that's the one thing that drives me nuts, especially on Kilimanjaro. If you're lying in bed 2 a.m, and then if you're like me, you won't wake up and go, oh, I need to go to the toilet, I'll go. You'll sit there and fight it for hours. When you should have just gone and got it done. But yeah,
brilliant. I noticed as well, I think a few people were talking about, I think Diane. Diane, I did see you did Crib Cook. Congratulations, that looked absolutely epic. I've been seeing a few comments on here. It was definitely Dave snoring that kept.
I was going to say Brooke throwing some shade at me there, and actually I don't think it was mine. I think that was Tam and Spuds snoring.
What about Steve's tent?
Oh yeah, Papa Tempo.
James.
I heard like
poor guys. I think they both snored.
I do think I think our tent was next to Brooke's at one night, so it's possible she heard me snoring, but I've never heard it. So I don't believe it happens.
If we were gonna, if you were to look at everyone and say who's the snorers, I think Brooke probably wouldn't be the one who was going to snore. And I definitely know that you snore. I definitely know that James snores, and I definitely know that Tam and Spud snore.
I've never heard it.
Yes, you have. You wake yourself up.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. I think who was it? I think it was Bavner there. I'm a deep sleeper on the EBC trip. I was powering on 2 to 3 hours. Bloody hell. Fair dues. And Bavner, that's it. You battled on. And I think if you go into these challenges, knowing, look, I'm not going to sleep like a baby. I'm going to get as much sleep as I can, but it's a challenge, and accept it and get it right in your head. And then when it's not such a surprise, you kind of deal with it better, I think. When it comes to it. And definitely.
Yeah.
I think Bavner was advised by guys not to take Diamox, instead keep hydrated. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you don't need to go to Diamox. I mean, sometimes they'll kind of lean and say, look, say you've had a bad sort of 2 or 3 days. Obviously, you want to start with the hydration, but if that's not really cutting the mustard, and you still want to go up, then Diamox is a powerful, powerful tool. And I used to be dead against it. Back in the early days, kind of 2015, 2016, 2017. I wasn't really, because I've never taken Diamox, but I know hundreds and hundreds of Evertrekkers who have. Some of them my friends and family, and they wouldn't have got to places like Everest Base Camp if they hadn't taken it. So it's one of those that can work as a tool. But also you're right, it's better to, and it's cool to do it properly and acclimatise properly as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you don't need to take a drug, then you shouldn't. To me, it's there as a last resort. But hydration, paracetamol.
Yeah.
Often that's enough just to keep the minor symptoms at bay, and you can crack on without it. So perfect.
Alison Morgan as well, just back from Nepal. A bit late to TTI.
Awesome,
fair. We flew back from Nepal yesterday. All had a fabulous time. Hello to my fellow EBC trackers. Awesome. Alison, congratulations.
Amazing.
Hope you had good to hear you had a good time as well. I'm sure now you're back, you're thinking about the next trip, right? So, hit us up. There's Nepal, but there's lots of different places. But no, just nice to see you back safely. Have a rest. I know it's like getting back, and we're talking about sleepy. You probably got some sleep to catch up on after the trip. But welcome back, mate.
Yeah.
Jerome, Dave snoring on Avalanche. I mean, that's pretty similar sounds.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Definitely similar.
I think some people probably would get up and run for cover.
Yeah.
But
well, like me.
Yeah, but like I said, it doesn't keep me up.
Exactly. Look, I want to swing back. We are finishing a little bit early today, and we have got some bits on. So just to kind of round it off. Firstly, Jerome, have an amazing birthday, rest of your day. I'm sure you got lots planned. And do make a promise to us now. Try not to take every rock when you go outside. Okay. Some of them look nice where they are. So yeah, just something for today. I know it's your birthday and you want to take all those rocks, but just go easy.
Yeah.
But no, just talking about fears and things like that. And I think, any final thoughts on it from yourself, Dave?
Yeah, I honestly think that it's perfectly natural to have any type of fear before you go and take on these treks. That doesn't mean that there's anything unusual that means you shouldn't take it on.
Yeah.
I think learning really does help that. We say it all the time, knowledge dispels fear. So often learning as much as you can about a subject, whether it be the training, the altitude, all of that sort of stuff, really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it is, even with all those fears in place and the reality that some people don't make it, it's better to try, and say that, you put it on the line and you went out there and you tried to do something amazing, because you'll realize when you get back that, you've won anyway just by going there. Base camp is a convenient excuse on a map to trek for 11 days through the Himalaya.
Yeah.
And the experience that you'll have arriving in Tanzania and climbing on Kili is amazing. So just by starting, you're going to win, and have in the back pocket the knowledge that almost certainly you're actually going to achieve everything that you want to as well. The fears are not enough.
Don't stop. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Now, thanks for joining us. I know it feels weird. We had one on Friday, one today. But yeah, I hope it's been useful. I know we've talked about fears and we've talked about different things like that. We thought it's Halloween next week, isn't it? We thought, well, let's start this week. Let's start talking about these things now.
Yeah.
But have an awesome week, whatever you're up to. We've got quite a busy week ahead. We do have, before we go as well, finally, I know a lot of you have already done Everest Base Camp, but tomorrow evening we are running our Couch to Everest. It is for people who haven't booked on to Everest yet, who haven't really taken on the challenge. But to anyone that is interested, I think Vicky's on comments.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she's got it. If not, I can always drop it in. I can always reply after the live anyway and drop it in the comments. If anyone is watching this on a replay, I will drop it in. And essentially, you can book in. It's an hour. I'll be doing it. And then Dave with a Q&A as well. And yeah, it's really, really useful. It goes through similar things that we talk about: altitude, we talk about equipment, we talk about training, all that stuff. Tomorrow night at 7. There we go. It's in there.
Angus, I keep wanting to do like a really rubbish Scottish accent, and then I remember that I think he's West Country.
Who's Angus?
I think Angus Ross is the most Scottish person ever to live in the West Country. Yeah. So yeah.
See you. Oh, there we go. Carl's like, see you later for the Friday tune-in. We're not there on Friday this week.
Yeah.
But we're not to a week yet. But no, have an awesome week, guys. Whatever you're up to, we'll catch you again next week.
Nice one. Take it easy, guys.